listen to me. If this is you, if COVID never happened, I would have been working at a high-paying job. If my high school bully didn't bully me, never existed, that I would have been great as a person. I would have been doing so much better. If my parents had so much money, I would have been. So what I'm trying to get at is, this morning when I was showering, this idea came to me. You know how people say, when you're showering, the best idea come to you. I don't know who said that, and I don't know if that's actually true. But I'm about to tell you, for the past 17 years from me living in China, I came to realize this one thing that has helped me to live in another country. Matter of fact, I can live anywhere in the world, but not feel like I need to try hard to, I don't know, fit in. Okay? So, growing up in China, in school, okay, what they always try to do under communism, right? In the communism countries, they always try to teach people to not have a preference. Why? Because the will of people, what people want, is what you want. Okay, so you do not have a preference, you do not have a choice, you always follow what everybody else wants. Okay, and then very quickly, if you have some sort of idea of how, illogical this idea is, then you'll be like, wait, what? Why? Right? So that's gonna tie into what I'm gonna say later, right? So when I was showering this morning, I was like, wait a second. I grew up with no preference. That's why when I face choices, for example, the most common example I can use is when my wife and I talk about, what do you want to eat dinner, or what do you like to eat? Do you like this or not? I would always say, I don't have a preference. I'm not. That's not ingrained into my brain. I like this. I dislike this. It's always, if it's good for the big picture, then I like that. I will go with that. So it doesn't matter so much of my opinion, whether I like it or not. If that benefits the group, then I will go with that. So that's a very problematic thinking, okay? But things start changing when I came to America, because I had power to make decisions. And most importantly, I realized this whole time I actually had power to make decisions. Not only because I came to America. Obviously, I have more freedom to decide what I want to do in my life. Overwhelming amount of freedom to choose. But also, I had choices when I was living in China as well. And I grew really, really sensitive to excuses. I'm hypersensitive of myself making excuses of things that didn't go right, didn't go according to my plan, and I would just be like, oh, well, if so-and-so did this job, then I wouldn't be responsible. Or I would push that thought. I would hyperanalyze the situation and then be like, you know what? I catch myself making excuses, and I don't like that, because you always have a choice. Obviously, there's things out of your control. Okay, that's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying things that's within your control, within your power. Right? So, in the Bible, I was just trying to find examples this morning, trying to see what Jesus has said about excuses, and I came across the passage talking about Moses talking about the slavery that they were experiencing in Egypt. Right, the Israelites were enslaved by the Egyptians, and then he was talking to God, and God called him to do his work. And then Moses was like, oh nah, I don't feel adequate, I'm slow in speech, and I have all these things I'm not good at. But imagine like when God actually calls you to do something and then you give him an excuse. You're like, I can't speak English too well. I didn't have a good grade, and I'm not good with people. I mean, these are more like self-limiting beliefs, right? And then there's another example that I found in the Bible where in the book of Luke, it talks about Jesus was given the parable of the banquet, how like the master of the banquet or party hosted this thing, and then he asked his servant to go out and invite people, and then when the banquet started, and then he asked his servant to go out and then invite people again, and then people were giving excuses. Somebody was like, oh yeah, I'm getting married, so I can't come. I bought a piece of land recently, so I have to go attend to the land. I can't come to the party. So granted, these examples are talking about when God calls on you, you don't give him excuses. How are we to give excuses into the scenarios we're in right now, saying that, oh, if something else has happened outside of my control, then I would have been in a different spot? That's like you saying, if the sun is gonna rise tomorrow morning, then I will get up. It doesn't matter. The sun will get up. It will the earth will rotate around the sun no matter what. But what is in your control is your decisions on, am I gonna wake up? Am I gonna wake up when the sun comes up? Right? You can choose to sleep in, and then you can choose to set up an alarm to see the sunrise, right? But you have to live with that decision. You have to realize, you have to take responsibility, accountability of that decision. You'll be like, oh, so when the sun comes up, and then if I don't come up, if I don't wake up with the sun, then I'm gonna miss work. I'm gonna be late to school. So I'm gonna make a conscious decision on what I do, because it doesn't matter. The sun will come up, time of work will come up, time of school will come up. So I have to do all things in my power to make sure that I get up. So I don't blame the sun because the sun came up early, because 7 o'clock hit a little bit earlier than yesterday 7 o'clock. It doesn't work like that, right? But anyways, I got a little passionate talking about this because I just cannot. Every time when someone pushes off their responsibility to things that's out of their control, I just feel like, man, you gotta really, why you gotta be saying stuff like that? How is that in any way gonna help you to grow as a human being? Stop making excuses on talking about things you can't control outside, but really think about what you have been given at this moment. Think about the choices you can make. How would that influence you? I think about, let's say Corey, right? He was so hyperly disciplined about doing YouTube. What if he just blamed, the algorithm is working against me. People in the world doesn't want to see another person out there playing games. What if he gave up, right? We wouldn't be able to experience and get the entertainment we have today from one of the greatest YouTubers. Don't stop making excuses. Start taking control, and then start being accountable to your actions. All right, take responsibility. And now I'm not saying this because I'm perfect at this area, but rather I have to grow in this area as well. I have to practice to get to a point where, you know what? This thing had happened. I could have done something to avoid it. Now, I'm not saying that I'm blaming myself. I'm just, being logical. I can take control, minimize the undesirable outcome that comes out of a situation, right? And I can take my decisions in control, and so that I can it's not about the outcome. It's about the effort that you're putting into it, right? So doesn't matter what the outcome is. I have tried enough. I have done enough in my own power, in the power that it's given to me. If it doesn't go my way, then I can be assured that, you know what? It's not that I didn't do enough.